can't I get that through my head? That unibrow gets connected. that pucker factor is non-existent to separate like that real hate from just the making noise.
That's one. You can't promote yourself to dog so you're automatically disqualified. Back by popular demand. NASCAR's getting their money's worth, too, because they're working us extra. We're bringing back spare change for you on Thursdays. Happy to do it. Breaking down a little bit of Talladega with a Bubba Wallace interview in the mix here. So going down to the big one. This is the one we've had circled on our schedule for the 17 because it is the chance to turn our season around in one day, as it is everybody else's. But I think we have a great shot to be able to do it. Turns into a track position race, turns into a fuel mileage race. And you got to be in the right lane at the right time to be able to find your way up front. But I think we can do it.
I'm excited for you. I think you have a great week.
We've been in the mix there.
I think you can run second.
The 12 team is strong. 2 out of the last 4 maybe y'all have won?
Man, there's guys, though. There's a couple guys. Bubba's one of them.
Yep.
That are just really strong.
They got fast cars, and they make the right moves, and they have good help, and they get to the front.
And then William Byron ends up winning. That's just how it seems like.
There's the 11, there's the 22, there's the 23, there's the 12, and those guys just rise to the top.
Yeah.
Fast cars, good strategy, right moves, good help. They have the respect from the field, so they don't get hung out. The guys don't try to put them top 3 or bad spots, and they just find their way to the front.
Yep.
So those are the ones you're going to keep your eye on. Hopefully the 7's in that mix as well, and I anticipate it to be.
Can you plan, though, to miss the big one, or
no?
What is your plan? You're not going to ride in the back. You're going to try to run up front all day, right?
You can't afford to ride in the back.
It's not like that anymore.
It actually worked out for us at Daytona. We weren't trying to ride in the back. We had to take a little more fuel on the last stop, so we missed the pack essentially. As it wore down to it, they all crashed, and then we were in like a 3-car draft.
Now you might finish in the top 5 if you do that.
You're not going to win a race.
You're not going to win a race. You have to be up there.
You got to be in the first 2 rows.
No. Let me go back on that. You might, because the whole field might wreck.
Yeah,
they honestly could.
Yeah, doubtful though.
But to win this race, I think you're going to have to be up front, contending for it all day.
And controlling the lines. But that's the thing. We've even seen it's been so that the margins are so small that if you are leading a line, you're burning more fuel than everybody else. You have to come down and you have to take 4/10, 6/10 more of gas from the guy that's been running 7th, and then you get flipped.
Yeah.
So it really comes down to how much fuel you can save. You want to be 3rd, 4th in line to save a little more gas to be able to flip those guys that had to take a full can or something like that at the end. So if you want to get into the weeds, you can get into the weeds as deep as you want to go. But we're not going to get into the weeds. We've got a lot of good clips.
How much do you study past races and finishes to try to figure out where you want to be, closing laps, end of a stage, end of the race? How much will you watch that this week?
Quite a bit.
Really?
And nothing from Daytona. Daytona, Talladega race so different. Handling's a factor at Daytona.
Really?
Yeah.
What about Atlanta? Nothing from Atlanta either? Just all pertinent to
all Talladega.
Next-gen Talladega races.
Yep. Because the track's super wide. Handling never comes in. 3rd lane is hard to get going unless guys are saving fuel in the middle or the front 2 bottom lanes. So you have to have good communication with your spotter and crew chief to see when those guys, if you're buried in track position, if you're 7th, 8th, and not in line, and the lines start saving fuel, that's when you can get the 3rd lane going to burn fuel for 3 or 4 laps to try to get the first 2 guys down. So that's where it kind of comes into play. But Talladega races only like Talladega, and Daytona races more comparable to Atlanta now. But it's its own beast.
How much studying will you do with your spotter TJ this week?
We're gonna have a meeting Wednesday of just, hey, I need to hear this in this instant. We need to be in this lane at this time.
Just kind of watch the race together.
He can see the energy more than I can. I can see aggression levels and guys who have pace up front leading lines, but how tight lines are, where the energy's coming from. It's easier for him to see up top. So that's the sort of stuff you're talking about.
Do you like a lot of talk from him or just pertinent information? What do you prefer?
Yeah, it's just about making your language concise. Even just taking words off. For me, it seems like now you have more control over the gap in front of you. You don't care about so much the gap behind you unless you're leading. I care about the gap in front of the car that I'm behind, because if the car in front of me has a gap to the front, I can push that guy and close that gap. So he's saying half and I know the first half or first number he says is the gap out front, he can say half one. One means the gap out back. He can say tight one. That means I'm loose out the back and a tight gap in the car ahead of me. So I can manage my gap to the car in front of me, but I can also manage that guy's gap in front of him.
Copy. Well, that's good. Yeah, that's getting in the weeds of it. Do you?
So we've just I've tried to save him a radio battery and his vocal cords. Just doing that all day. Just try to cut words.
Do you
down.
have some verbiage for when you're leading?
Yeah, you can just. It's just half, one.
Prepare
drag.
For that
now. Yeah. We've led some laps of speedways, and I feel like we've done a pretty good job of that. We just got to lead the right one.
That's right.
Which is the last one. And hey, we've even seen. We're going to break down some crazy Talladega. We're going to dive into the archives because NASCAR, they've got everything on. They got everything archived, and one of the all-time best Talladega memories is when that crazy son of a stole the pace car.
He did. Oh my goodness.
And took her for a joyride.
1986 Winston 500.
Officials are not driving this thing, and somebody has actually gotten in the pace car and stole it.
It looks like Smokey and the Bandit, like they're trying to chase him down. That box ain't catching them.
The best is he did 2 laps before they were able to stop him, and they kind of blockaded it. Oh. What was his plan?
What do you mean?
Like what?
Take her for a hot lap, buddy.
Like everybody's cheering.
Yes.
I think they beat him up.
Maybe not on pit road, but they took him out forcefully, I believe.
Oh goodness! I wonder if he was drunk.
Not
only did you steal, well, I mean, then you got a DWI too. Like you definitely get a DWI if you're doing that.
I'd say.
I don't love that. Oh, this.
You don't love it? I think that's great. It's
I
kind of
don't
like
love driving drunk, but I don't.
No,
I do
like
love
that.
the guy. I mean, I thought it was great at the time.
There's walls, there's catch fences. There's nobody else out there.
It'd be a mess nowadays if somebody did that.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't be able to.
I don't know.
Wow.
Race fans are savvy, bro.
I do not recommend. Let me just say, I do not recommend.
I don't recommend that either. But this is a little. If you haven't answered on the Arctic Ice Cold Trivia yet, here's the answer for you. Newsflash, if you're listening to us on Thursday, here's the answer for the Ice Cold Trivia. You can put your name in the comment section. So Jimmy Horton, you said he was one of your favorite drivers growing up?
Yeah, he's a Jersey dirt racer, man. One of the best big block dirt modified racers to ever do it. Used to watch him at East Windsor growing up. I honestly didn't even know, because I was young. I didn't even know that he had a Cup career until I was an adult, because I just watched him in the 43 Dutchess overhead door, big block dirt modified, him and Billy Pouch. It was awesome growing up watching those guys. But yeah, Active Racing was a modified team too that they went Cup racing. And then they.
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
Literally out of the ballpark, dude. What?
He said it's never good when the first person that gets to you is holding a beer.
That is crazy. Literally out of the ballpark, dude. Holy
wow, that thing is wrecked.
Moly. We're watching this on YouTube, guys. Make sure you're tuning into this. Ned Jarrett on the scene, too. Dude, there's nothing left of that car. Are you kidding me?
Oh, he's lucky he was okay.
Oh, my. Look, almost it might be a good thing that there's no catch fence there and he just went out of the ballpark.
Yeah, then, Dews?
Yeah.
Then Dews was on the team and they went and interviewed him and he was like, yeah, tough day for the Active Chevy. It's like an iconic thing. But I hate that as good of a race car driver as Jimmy Horton is, I hate that's kind of what everybody in the NASCAR world knows him for.
My man went for a ride. So those are certainly a couple great Talladega memories. Also one, Brad Keselowski, Bad Brad, driving for James Finch, that Phoenix Racing Chevy.
I remember watching this right in front of me.
Remember? Him and Carl had a monster rivalry.
Huge through the bush and Xfinity stuff.
And then Carl hooked him at Atlanta, flips over the same thing.
So
coming to the checkered.
So I was a fabricator at Roush then. So I built that 99 car. I was a finished fabricator, so put the rear windshields in it, did all the side windows.
Did you put that windshield in now?
Not the windshield. I did all the back side glass, rear glass. But we had wrecked. I was either with David Reagan or James McMurray. And we would ride buses back and forth to the airport, and we were parked in the Xfinity garage kind of pointed at the track, and we watched that right in front of us. I was like, holy crap. Like, I'd never seen anything like that.
I love this move, too. Just straight Ricky Bobby. I'm going to finish the race.
Yeah.
Come hell or high water.
This was the crazy two-car tango days.
Dude, unpopular opinion, I love two-car tango.
Really?
It was like chess. There it is.
Yeah, this is one of the iconic moments. Man, Carl Edwards was great for the sport. I wish he was still around. This was a big wreck, and the other one that was a real big wreck was later on when he ended up right-hooking Keselowski at Atlanta. I remember watching that right in front of me, too. Like, oh, my God. But
so there's another one. We'll just keep rifling. What is this? So Dale Jr. crashed. This is before the DVP.
Oh, come off. Yeah, I didn't have it on there.
This is.
Luckily, it was under caution. I just grabbed it.
Oh, my God. Talk about an absolute pucker factor moment.
oh, my God. That is the scariest thing.
So he was damaged. They come and fix it, right? They get back in the car, and that's the sort of stuff NASCAR's trying to prevent introducing to DVP. Just like having your car duct taped together, welding front clips on, and then your driver gets in after being in the motorhome for a half an hour, and you just don't put the steering wheel on.
I welded a rear clip on with a fuel tank full of gas.
Well, you got to go.
In Kentucky.
Yeah, you don't have time to drain it.
Swear to you, that is where the DVP came from, because NASCAR is sitting there like, what are you guys doing?
Well,
there's a spot to get. We got to get it. But yeah, that was scary. That
Denny Hamlin had that happen as well in qualifying.
Hey, look.
Had his wheel fall off.
And now in that picture is Tiff Daniels in the back, who runs Dirty Mo Media. So it's all full circle.
Yep, it is. 2.66 is the length of the Talladega circle. I don't know where I was going with that segue. I thought it was a good one.
You had a steering shaft break here.
Oh, my God. First year of the next-gen car. I don't think it broke. I just don't think the set screw was properly inserted or tightened.
You had a steering shaft fall apart here.
Yeah, dude. And
that was a big hit.
That was a large one. It was like 42 G's.
Oh.
It was like 42 G's. It was like, I'm just kidding.
It was like that's what you did.
That's why my eggs are scrambled, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I sound the way I do.
That's what, no BS. That's what you did at Charlotte when you scrambled your eggs. You just kept repeating yourself. That was a big hit. Hey, man, that was a big hit.
It was.
That was a big hit, man.
Actually, Kyle Busch and I were talking about this past weekend. He goes, yeah, it's kind of like what you did. I asked him, I was like, that's a pretty big lick in practice. He goes, yeah, it's kind of like yours at Charlotte. So which one?
Yeah.
The Saturday or Sunday?
Yeah.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, I was hiding my own Easter eggs for a couple weeks after that. But, you know, if you're going to be dumb, you got to be tough.
That's it.
Talking about tough, Bubba Wallace is going to join us. He's had not even a tough. He's had a couple great weeks, start the season in the top 10 in points. We're going to break down his season. We talked to him on Tuesday, but we're going to hear more of that interview coming up right after this.
I'm Ryan Flores. Join Kim Kuhn and myself each and every week at Around the Track. We'll get you ready for the upcoming race weekends from short tracks to the Cup Series, whether you'll be attending in person or watching from home.
Coming your way each week is the best bets to win some easy money and driver suggestions to help pump up your fantasy lineups. Around the Track also tells you what to watch for in the NASCAR Regional Series and which young phenom drivers to keep your eye on.
Plus, our At Traction segment gives you all of the fan activities, concerts, and tailgating fun at the track. Be sure to check out Around the Track each and every Wednesday on NASCAR's YouTube channel.
And we're back, guys. Join us right here in the Nonsense Garage. Bubba Wallace, join Stacking Pennies. Hey, buddy.
Hello.
How's it going?
I'm all right.
You're tired.
Yeah.
Tired. It's a long night. Long flight back from Texas.
Yeah.
But a couple top 10s recently.
No doubt. Man, we had a grind for that one yesterday.
Yeah.
What a awful day for us on the 23 car.
Give us some cliff notes right quick before we get into the good stuff.
Man, like unloaded, and we were Group B, and
that's a place you generally expect to go run well at. Sat on the pole
really.
there, right? Didn't you sit on the pole?
I sat on the pole, but
yeah.
We definitely made a step up into it last year. You know, when we made the playoffs, I grabbed Booty and pulled him aside, and I'm like, hey man, round two. I think it was round two. Round 2's gonna kick our ass. It was, I think, the Roval and Texas. And we show up and have a lot of pace, sit on the pole, and, have a career day. So it's like, hey, good job. So obviously, you think you show up and everything's going to be the exact same.
No.
So we adjusted. We over-adjusted. I don't know. It
doesn't take much.
No. We followed what the 45 was doing because we show up to the track the exact same. Like, exact same. And then we may veer off, a couple adjustments.
Every week?
Every week. Exact same.
You guys are that close where you can unload the same. No?
Yeah. He's got a little bit different things for, like, driver comfort stuff. But,
what, like a booster seat?
Yes, that for sure.
Pedal extension?
Yes. Yes. He's got the steering wheel where the controls where you can move it closer to him. Yeah.
Heated steering wheel.
Yeah, he's got all that. And I went in and I'm like, man, I'm tight. Like I'm just a little tight, like a little uncomfortable tight. And I got out of the car and they're like, yeah, you're loose. We'll tighten you up. And so I spent all of Saturday night. We went to Talladega concert. Awesome. And like halfway through it, I just sit down and grab my phone and I start firing off text to Booty, like just thinking, like, what is happening? Like, what is going on? I couldn't give the correct feedback. And so I was a little spun out. Then he's like, you're fine, got a lot of pace.
So they're looking at SMT, thinking you're loose.
Yep.
You're telling them you're tight.
Yep. But then, like, you see shallow entry, you see tight center, you see all the things that show loose. But I'm over here like, no, I'm tight.
Yeah.
He's like, no, you're just compensating for being free. I'm like, why can't I get that through my head?
That's
like,
it hit you mid Tyler Childers concert.
Huh?
It hit you mid Tyler Childers.
Oh, no, it hit me all day. But then I was really like, okay, what is going on? So, like, I had a massive mental block, even through the race. And I don't know what it was. So we get into the race and we're okay. And I'm getting pissed off because we keep restarting 10th to 12th. Right, we keep restarting there, and then the 14 sticks his nose into one. The 10 doesn't know that we're 3 wide. We make contact, and I'm up by the wall in the 1. So of course I lose it. I said, I'm tired of restarting. We're restarting, right? Do something to get us track position. Well, we weren't a car good enough to do that. And so when we go up there and get track position, we ran second in that stage. We ran down Ross. We get up there, and then we're just too free. So at moments I was too tight, and I was too free, and just could never get a balance. And so we were just hanging on. Went to the back there, and luckily those restarts helped us out. So we just kept
you went
plugging middle.
From 25th to 8th.
25th to 7th.
Damn.
25th to 7th on those restarts.
Man, I went from 12th to 22nd.
Damn.
So tail of two restarts there. That was unfortunate.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to get into the nitty gritty of the weekend. Sit 9th in points. You got to be feeling pretty good about that 23 car so far this year.
Yeah, no, it's good. I think, that's one of the big things I learned. Like, even as rough as days can get, like, you can't give up, right? I think I kind of learned that you think you learn that from the get-go, but like Charlotte last year, we ran 16th to 20th, ended up 4th on the last restart. And so you just never give up. As rough as the days are, our guys, we know that. If we have bad days on pit road, or if I make dumb calls on the racetrack, or we just don't have a good car, like, none of us ever give up. And so that's what you need, and then it starts to kind of stack up. And we keep saying you keep throwing your name in the hat, and it's eventually going to get pulled. Like, I thought the 9 winning yesterday was perfect. He's ran top 5 the last 4 races.
Yeah.
Hell, he's due.
That's right.
So we got to get a little bit better all around. But yeah, I think this is obviously the best start we've had to our season and any season, and it's good. It's fun.
Man, I thought that rewind a little bit right when you go over to 2311, they tab Booty as crew chief.
Yeah.
And I was a little bit confused, not knowing much about Booty besides his time at Germain, but he's been around the garage forever.
A long time.
And I didn't really understand the full scope of how he's gotten the most out of you and made you really reach and like fulfill your potential as a race car driver until I watched that Netflix show.
Yeah.
And you watch him and you watch Booty, he ended up being, there were some comparisons about Gunther Steiner. I think they're complete opposites.
I think so too.
Because Booty's just a good old boy.
Yep.
And he seems to be the perfect fit for you as a crew chief driver pairing.
Yep.
So what's that been like?
Yeah, it's interesting. I love Booty to death, and I'd say throughout my career, you don't really realize it until you get to I guess, the top level of what you like and what you need. I had crew chiefs come through, like when I jumped on at the 43, Drew was over there, Drew Blick, and very personable guy, down to earth, and we vibed really well. And then he left to go to, I think, the 34 at that time. And I had my engineer at the time come up, Derek, and we never really vibed like on that personal level. He was super engineering mind based, which is all good. We just never had that click, and the results didn't show.
Derek Stamens?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I worked with Derek.
Yeah. He was a great guy, but never
Very
could get
engineering
that.
based.
Yes. And so then I brought Jerry over, and our results picked up.
Yeah,
You
almost
know?
like a little bit of Willie B. Rudy. Like
Yes,
you're comfortable
yeah.
with them. You had success with
Yeah.
them. Let's try to recreate some magic.
Yeah. And so then when I jumped over to the 40 or the 23, I had wheels. And again, very engineering based, very structured, and just, hey, this is what we're gonna do. Like, we show up, we're gonna do this, this, and that. And I'm like, I'm invested into it. Wasn't working out.
It's awkward. It's very awkward with some
Right.
crew chiefs because what it seems like you need like booties can say stuff the right way.
Yep.
But with engineers, sometimes the way their feedback is, that it doesn't always feel like they have your back
Right.
because it's like very much matter of fact.
Yes.
And you're like, no, but I'm dealing with this. No, this is what the numbers
yes,
say.
100%. And so, like, you listen to Cliff on the radio with Larson, and you're like, man, it sounds like he says all the right things, like, oh, I'm ready to run through a brick wall, but it's like, is that what, like, I don't know if I'd like that.
Dude, whip out I'm waiting for you to whip out a cliff. And
I know, me too.
I kicked him out of our
You
pit
were, like,
box yesterday.
biting your tongue over there.
Yeah, he was walking through our pit box. I
it's-
said, excuse me, don't walk through my pit box. oh, is this yours? And then he came back walking the next way and walked around it. But, dude, that's how Cliff has been since we
Yeah.
raced
Yeah.
legend cars. He's
Yeah.
always been
Yeah.
like I tell the story.
Very structured.
Well, the first time I ever met him at Southside Speedway, he showed me, like, we were all racing, right? And he showed me that I rebuilt my whole steering column to take all the slop out. I was like, what a freaking nerd.
just get your elbows up a
But
little
that's,
higher.
I mean, that's why he's
Yeah.
crew chief.
Exactly.
And,
Yeah.
but that's what it looks like with Booty. Like, he's personable enough to where you can talk to him.
Yep.
But also, he can convey things in a way to tell, like, put a foot in your ass, but also
Yep.
have your back at
Yep.
the same time.
100%. And also, he's the type, like, okay, we're boys, so whatever you say to me, that I know you're pissed off in the moment.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna get hurt feelings. And he'll tell you, dude, I played football all my life. I had it way worse than what you say. And so it's like having people understand that instead of going back to the shop the next day and everybody's butt hurt. Because we say we're in the car for 3.5 hours.
It's a very isolated feeling.
Yes. And so when you restart 10th to 12th every time and get canned every time,
Yeah.
you just, what are we doing? And they're like, we're fine. We'll get it back.
On a scale from 1 to Blaney, how fired up do you get on the radio? Blaney being a 10.
12.
Dude,
Or a 12. He's a
okay,
12.
we're going to go there. This guy can drive around bitching, screaming, throwing the bird. Oh, man, he's passionate. Bubba Wallace gets out and flips off his manager behind camera. He just flipped off America. Him.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. It's weird how that is, man.
That's all I'm going to say.
That's a lot of weight, though. And do you live with that? Do you feel that burden of, like, expectations and perception? Being
I mean,
only black driver?
there's way more eyes for sure, and I think, at times I'd say the biggest thing that I've done in this year, and I was, ever since 2020, I was always like, after all the down, right?
Yeah, which you didn't ask for.
No. I was like, okay, I got to prove to everybody that, I belong here, and, la da da, instead of just
Being Bubba.
Exactly. And, thinking that the world is against me and everybody's out to get me, there may be some, but I don't need to invest my time into that anymore, trying to prove everybody right. The people that matter, they know what's right and what's wrong. And
That's right.
And so I think that's helped me out a lot just from the mental side of it. And then showing up to the racetrack and being more comfortable. I definitely lost touch with who I was for the last couple of years and chasing the wrong thing. And You know, now that you've kind of gotten back to being on the right track, things are starting to click. So
that's why I wanted to get you in here, because I've known you for a long time, and I just noticed even from Daytona down there in Speed Weeks, you just seem lighter on your feet, more excited.
Yep.
Because what I've always loved about you is you wear your emotions on your sleeve. That's what a lot of people misconceive Bubba for who you are, because you're a super emotional guy, and you've been outspoken about struggling.
Yep.
Right. There's been seasons where it's been tough, and you've had to dig yourself out of the hole, and all the things you've been talking about. It seems like, and I wanted to hear from your perspective, are you lighter as you come off?
The scale says no. I'm a little heavier.
I can tell.
Yeah, I am. I would show up, let's say the last, 3 years now, 4 years, I'd show up pissed off. Just hadn't even been on a racetrack, show up pissed off and ready to prove the world, like, I'm him. No, you ain't. You ain't done and I think now, I show up, it may look like I'm pissed off. And I try not to give that, hey, I'm pissed off, don't bother me. But like,
it's just them bushy eyebrows.
Yeah, it is. That unibrow gets connected at points. But I'm so focused on what I need to do, like hyper focused on what I need to do and what I think I need to do. And, I always talk like what you see of Bubba Wallace at the racetrack is what you see at home. That is starting to change from hey, I'm at work right now. Let me focus on this, and then we can have fun. But I'm still the same old punk-ass kid.
But it's because you've been running better, right?
Yeah.
That's what it comes
100%.
like. You watch Full Swing, you're a golf guy.
Yeah.
So like I think of it, it just made me think of I was watching Rory, the first episode where he was trying to shoulder all that live stuff,
Yep.
and then he started struggling.
Yep.
And it's like I got to just worry about golf.
Yep.
But you like the on track stuff wasn't very good in the 43 days, and then you're cup racing and it's not good, and you really don't have the team, and then it just snowballs.
Yep.
And now I'd say you're lighter and refreshed because you're just back to racing, right? You're not worried about the bullshit that comes with running bad and having to be in the so now you're in the media and the news because you're running top 5, because you're running up front, you're running for wins. Before, it's like you're in the media and the news just for bullshit.
Yeah.
And that's where Bubba Wallace, the race car driver that we've always known, right? That's where it's like it's back. It's not, you don't go show up to the racetrack with a chip on your shoulder trying to prove yourself every week.
No.
Now, what is though, the added competition, the added element there of success within the entire team over there, 2311? What does that kind of come from? Right? Is that the collective mission? Is that Talladega coming in and adding some stuff? Is it confidence from the entire group? Where do you see that uptick from?
Yeah, oh man. So I look at, when I was at the 43, man, I had so much fun over there. And every person on that team was a joy to be around, and it was very family oriented. And I instilled a lot of those core values when 2311 was built. And I told them day one, like, hey, I want this to be a mimic of what I had at 43. Like, that's how we all vibe. We talk about Booty and I, it's more family based, right? And so, I kind of felt like I had a good foundation built for what we have, but it's an uptick. It's an uptick in performance. You got MJ, you got Denny. Those guys are winners, right? Yeah. And Denny is such a data analytics guy, and so he wants us to analyze everything, right? And look at all this information. And I'll admit, the first, what is this, my 4th year? Yeah. So the 3 years, I'd say 2.5 years, I'm like, holy shit, man, we're having another meeting to look over the same stuff just in a different way. Like, damn, can we just go race?
Are these initiated by Denny usually?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it comes from Denny. And then, you have Dave Rogers over there, competition director that,
a lot of smart fellas.
Yes. Yes, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And, I walked into this year, we have a ton of meetings, and I'm not a meeting person, right? But
surprising.
Yeah, right? But it's clicked. It's like, this is what it takes?
Yeah.
And you sit your ass down and you invest the time. And I think with the new shop, it's so inviting to come over there and just chill and talk about things and brainstorm ideas. As to where before, I was like, man, I can't wait to get out of this place. The shop in Mooresville.
Yeah.
Right? And that it's funny. Like I didn't think that would make a difference, but it actually does. Like after this,
do they call
I'm
it?
heading
Atmosphere. Hey, what do they call it?
airspeed.
Airspeed.
Oh, I thought you were saying atmosphere.
That's what they call it.
Our shop.
Your shop is called Airspeed?
It's not.
Airspeed.
It's not the shop.
It's not the shop. I
It's
just
just
got a
airspeed.
$5,000 fine.
You, what?
That's what they act like.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, they want you to say airspeed, not shop.
That's airspeed.
Just wanted to set it. I get it.
set the precedent.
Yeah,
Call it
it's
airspeed.
something different. Air for Jordan, and then
Yeah.
obviously speed for Denny. So
Okay.
And Bubba.
sure.
Okay. Has it been a big
why the
change?
building's
So
black.
but you were well, only half.
Halfway.
It's only half. So you were at the 43, and then your first year at 2311, you didn't have teammates.
No, I didn't.
So did that help, like getting Kurt and then rolling that into Tyler?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when Kurt came over, obviously it's like, all right, Kurt's gonna come over and kick my ass. So we step up, and he did up until Pocono, obviously, and so it just, Kurt is there. He's still there, and he's there to give you a different perspective on things to look at, and how to manage races and whatnot. And then Tyler coming over, I told Amanda, she's like, how's Tyler going to be? I was like, he's going to be fast, and he's going to kick my ass. So it's going to cause me to take a step up in performance, and I think we've done that for sure.
What are some areas you had to work on specifically?
Road courses to start.
Yeah.
He's the best at road courses.
Well, I didn't realize that he sucked at road courses, and he's like, I just put in a ton of time.
Yep.
On the sim with
On the
Josh
sim.
Wise and
Yep.
Scott Speed.
And then
that's
going
all
and
to it.
running some races
Yeah.
at Coda.
Yep. He definitely put in a lot of time there. I struggle to, you may be in this boat too, but sim, I go there and just check the box and I'm done. Because, man, like trying to run a lap on sim at Texas, okay, like you might crash 10,000 times, but it doesn't give you that feeling like I'm about to die.
It's the pucker factor.
The pucker factor
Is
is
not-
non-existent. And so trying to give true relative feedback,
yeah.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Just
Like,
off-
obviously you see I'm crashing, so tighten it up. So then you just show up to the racetrack.
Plowing tight.
Yeah, it's like, no. So, like, that's one of the few tracks that is a little bit off. But yeah, he's a big sim guy. He's a big sim guy. I think he had over 100 hours on sim last year.
Really?
Yeah, and I had 20.
Well, it's all tools, right?
is
Like
tools.
people, it just
Yep.
you got to figure out the tools that work for you. Going back to what you talked about with Denny, like the analytics, right? You can drown yourself in numbers.
100%.
You got to figure out which numbers are important to make you successful and which numbers you don't need to worry about.
Yep. So the meeting side of it, and like, I throughout the race, I get these like little, okay, let's put that to the side and talk about Monday. That's where before I'm loose, I'm tight. We had good pit stops and we finished 15th, like whatever. Now it's like, all right, what did I need to be better? Texas, throw that one out because I said I had a mental block, but like Coda, Richmond, Martinsville, like all the short track package stuff, there was some stuff that I felt like was relevant through all three, and it's like, this is where we need to dive in at, and so being more invested in the team, I think, has given us all an uptick. But yeah, just the like, I feel like I'm asking all the right questions, and not afraid to ask the dumb ones, like that may seem dumb, like, hey,
Yeah.
are we running fifth gear like the whole, like, just,
Yeah.
and it's like,
king of
that's
dumb
actually a good question. Figuring out the little things that actually matter, all adds up.
Going back to, I like using the driver as an analogy as quarterback, right? Because you're on the field, you get the ball every
Yep.
play. Crew chief's the head coach. Spotter is like the offensive coordinator,
Yep.
right? He's kind of looking it over. He has a
Yeah.
feel for the defense, all that. I think it's also talked about how Booty has your back. You've been working with Freddie now how long? Like a decade.
2010.
Yeah, 12 years.
Yep.
14 years.
Yep.
How important is that relationship? Because right now, it's just like he knows what you're thinking and you know what he's about to say.
Yep.
Type of relationship.
Yeah. It reminds me of 2015. We were both at Roush. He was doing Biffle, and Patty was a crew chief. And we walk out of I'm going home out of our debrief meeting, and Patty busts out the door. Hey, man, how long have you been working with Freddie? And at that time was, 5 years? Can you understand what he's saying? I'm like, yeah, it's 5 years of experience. He's like, holy cow, I think he's good, but damn, he talks so fast.
Oh, talking fast? I just
Talks
didn't
so
know if that
fast.
was that New York
Oh,
accent.
Long Island.
Yeah, Long Island. But, fast forward to where we're at now, Freddie and I are like brothers. Again, it goes back to that family atmosphere. Hey, man, you sucked up on the roof today. He's going to be like, well, you sucked inside the race car.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're right. We'll go back to work next week.
Keep it moving.
Yeah. And so, you know,
did you tell him to shut
at
up at Bristol? And he goes, copy, shut the up.
Yes. Because I got out of the groove. You know, when you got out of the groove,
Oh, yeah.
it was done. Yes. And so he talked for like 2.5 laps straight. And he was like, all right, if you got to come to us, then bring it to us. The boys will be ready. Boys, get ready. He's coming to you. And all I needed to say was, I'm fine. I just got loose.
Yeah.
And I need to get the tires cooled back off.
And get all the off.
Yes.
Off, yeah.
But
was
just
talking.
nonstop. And I said, shut the up, cop. Shut the fuck up. So it is what it is. So
Yeah, man, having those relationships are so important. So we talked about the past, but looking through the rest of the year, looking pretty good for a playoff spot. Still
we're
got
only
a lot of
9 races in, pal.
Yeah, but you're still 9th in points, looking pretty good.
Yeah.
Running strong enough.
Yep.
What are some areas the 23 team needs to work on, and what do you feel strong about? Going to Talladega this week, you've been in contention to win about every time you're there.
Yeah. If we replay last year's race there, then obviously close out the last lap. I feel
What
like
do you do different?
the 8 was blocked in, so all I needed to do was stay bottom, and me and the 12 could have drag race to the line. But I think for us, you know, we've looked at strategy. Strategy stuff's been a huge topic for the 23 team, of kind of not doing necessarily the right things. Now, I kind of tiptoe around this because I don't know much about strategies. Like in the middle of the race, man, I'm trying not to crash at Texas. I'm not worried. Like, okay, I got 20 laps on my tires. The run is 50 laps, so I think we should pit now. That's not my job.
Yeah.
That's not my job. And
Just feel a tire.
Maybe that'll happen in the next 5 years if I have a job. But like,
I don't think Kyle Larson's thinking about that either.
Well, some like Denny, Kyle Busch, those guys, they can think about strategy in the middle, and you know, hey, I'm coming now. And it's like, man, I wish I could understand that, but maybe that's another day. So we've definitely, you know, gotten a little bit better at strategy side. We've had a lot of hard meetings and a lot of, you know, what the are we doing? You know? But I think now, like I look at Martinsville and we lost it. We lost it on the final pit stop, that green flag pit stop. We just got too free. So if we've accomplished stage 1, stage 2, like that's a big improvement. Stage 3 is obviously the money one.
Yeah.
You know, you got to make the most of it in there because everybody gets their cars damn near perfect at that point.
Yeah.
And so I still think, and sometimes we do, and other times it's like, damn, we missed it by, we're talking a half a tenth of air pressure.
I know, dude.
And it's like, what?
Yeah.
So nailing that on the head, I think, is where we will start to shine.
Yeah. Love that.
Yeah.
Why are you looking at me?
I don't know.
I ain't got nothing to say. I'm pumped. I mean, I'm pumped. I think that you said it best. You know, with the 45, I think high tide raises all ships, and it's been fun to watch. Just you get back to who we knew you were, right?
Yep.
Like
Yep.
I talk every time I talk to you, we talk about watching you at the summer shootout, right?
Yep.
And then going to your first K&N race, you won with
Yep.
Freddie.
Yep.
Remember when you planked? Is that when you
Yeah,
planked on the
planked,
roof?
yeah.
You were
Yeah.
planking back then.
Yeah.
planker guy.
Yeah, big planker.
I just think it's cool. Like, I was thinking about this morning coming in here when I sat back, and kind of all of us that grew up together, I was thinking about all the just that we've done on this property.
Yeah.
Right?
wheel
And like all the
racing,
people that have come
go-kart
out of
racing.
here, right?
Yeah.
Peterson,
Yeah.
crew chief
I
in
know.
the 34.
I think about that all the
and,
time too. Yeah.
Who Kyle? Is it Kyle? That's
Yeah,
I saw him
manager,
with his
yeah.
mustache
Yeah.
on pit road this weekend. I'm like,
Yeah.
man, it's our time now.
Yeah,
Right?
we're all
Like we
here.
were all growing up together, and
Yeah.
Coleman, and it's just it's really cool to see. But
Can't even talk to Coleman no more.
I just
It's like, hey man. He's like, who are you? I'm like, yep. You're right. You're right.
speaking of spotters.
I knew what you wanted to. I know what I wanted to ask you about. It's happened a couple times after Kansas, Victory Lane, or on the front stretch, sitting down next to your car after Bristol. You do this.
Yeah, yeah.
Who's that to?
All the that exactly that. Say I
Because what
can't-
is that noise? Like, what is that noise that because it could go either way. It could drive you into a hole,
Yep.
or it can fuel your fire.
Yeah, yeah. So that
what is that
was
noise?
obviously, you know, like I said, that was the showing up, having a chip on your shoulder, like proving them that they were wrong, right? And that was that moment, like, hey, pipe down.
Here I am.
You know, exactly. So we did that. You know, they don't want to give the credit. You know, we led the last 67 laps of, including there's a green flag stop at Kansas. You know, they don't see that. You know, so I feel like for me and this isn't me, you know, poking my chest out, but like the goalpost is always being moved, and it's like, move it. I don't care. Y'all are working twice as hard as me. I don't give a damn.
Yeah.
And so I think that was just to be like, you know, to shut people up.
You get booed
the
everywhere.
The loudest.
Every
scream.
track.
Every track. Yeah.
Does that wear on you, or are you over that?
It did, for sure. You know, especially after all the went down. Like, man, Kyle was still driving the 18, so he was still hated. It would rival him.
Yeah, nobody even is mad at him anymore.
Dude. So I was standing there
I
for
feel bad
qualifying.
for him now.
Standing there for qualifying at Martinsville, and Kyle and I mean, we talk every blue moon if we cross paths. But he was pitted 2 stalls down from me, and I thought about going over there, but you know, he runs his lap. He runs his lap, and people are cheering. Boom, top of the board, Kyle Busch. And I'm like,
This wasn't last week.
yeah, last
In
week.
Texas?
No, Martinsville.
Oh, okay. Texas, he was.
No, Martinsville. Not junked. You know, he makes the top of the board to get there, and people are screaming and cheering, and I'm like, holy cow.
The tides have turned.
What is
know,
this
right?
alternate universe
Yeah.
we live in? Well, and the other one that gets booed too is Denny, so they're doubling down on your ass.
I think Denny's probably the loudest. Like, I feel like mine's kind of tapered down a little bit. Depends on where we go.
I would say that. I would say that's right.
Yeah, Darlington, they're loud and proud down there, so that'd be a good one to win in front of.
The one that gets me is Tennessee, because you're Tennessee.
Go
loyal.
Vols!
Yeah.
It's like, all right.
Crystal.
He's not.
Yeah.
We don't claim him.
Yeah, so it is what it is. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I said like,
How do you turn that though from like those jeers from being like weighing you down into fuel?
You know, like I'll go back to Martinsville when Kyle bumped me to second place. You know, boo, you suck. You know, it's like, huh? I just qualified second. Like, doesn't suck. It's yes, it sucks to lose the pole.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's understanding like half of them don't know what the hell they're talking about.
I would say 97% of them don't.
I was being generous. I was being nice.
it's
I'm
way
trying to
more
gain
than-
a couple of them back, so I said half.
No, it's way more than about 97.
Yeah. And so I'm
Truly
like,
know like the deal.
yes,
You know?
yeah. And so I'm like, okay, they're passionate. They don't like me. That's totally fine. It's the ones that, you know, you suck. All this nonsense stuff that I've proven wrong time and time again. And so I've started to understand, like, to separate like the real hate from just the making noise. And so, like I said, it's tapered down and it's expected now. And so I just don't invest my energy into that anymore.
Yeah. Makes
I'd
sense.
say 85% of the people, maybe more, that boo you, if they saw you at the gas station, would be asking for an autograph.
1,000%.
Yeah.
One, you know, it's so funny. So I don't know if you're like this, Corey. Like everywhere you go, you're like, go to the grocery store, go to the
No,
restaurant.
you're like an A- level.
No.
celebrity. I'm like a D.
What I'm getting at is your awareness. I'm always aware of like
people are like look
as soon as you walk in, like, yep, cashier recognizes you, and it's not like, oh yeah, they recognize me. It's the ones like, okay, I hope they don't ask mid bite, hey, can I get a picture?
Yeah.
You know, or like, is that person genuine, or is something going to go down? Like, whatever. And so I'm always mindful of that. So even at the racetrack, I'm
Is
looking.
there an interaction that like sticks out? Like somebody was not polite or like just at the wrong place at the wrong time?
No, it's funny. I had one guy come up to me. I think this was last year, or it may have been a Twitter interaction or something. But he was like, "Man,
Those are where real thoughtful conversations go down.
yeah, exactly." He was like, "Man, I thought you were terrible and you sucked as a human being, and man, you've proved me wrong, and I apologize for everything."
Oh.
And I was like, "Damn, all right, that's 1%."
Yeah. Get one back.
Yeah, I got one back.
Got one back.
Yeah. Interactions. No, I think. The worst ones are when you're eating and somebody asks you like mid bite.
Yeah.
You know, and you have to be like, "No, not right now. Let me finish my meal." you know, and then
That's tough because that's their first impression of you.
Yep.
You blew them off because you're eating a sandwich.
it's a
And then
double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Double-edged sword. So, you know, now, you know what I think about? I think about like all the aftermath of everything. Like going into turn one, like, I'm a little bit at Texas. I'm a little bit tight here. It's going to snap soon. Talking about this. Oh, race car drivers have it so bad. Can't even go to a restaurant. Must feel so bad for them.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I don't feel bad for you sissies.
yeah.
But hey, listen,
all part of it.
everybody loves Tony Stewart. When I worked for him, he would chase fans down and argue with them. Why? No, hey, get over here.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to practice. You're asking me for an autograph.
Yeah, and some people just don't know boundaries, and I think that's tough to kind of be like, hey, right now I'm in the moment.
Yeah.
Like this has nothing to do with you. Like I didn't even know you were there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you're focused.
Yeah, and so it can be taken way out of context super fast. So
Yeah,
you
there's
have
not
to
a
be
lot of grace
mindful.
afforded.
No. But then you watch the Masters, and those guys are obviously hyper focused, and people are cheering, and they just grab their hat. They're probably mother themselves. They just grab their hat, like tip of the cap, like, oh yeah, he really shows that he appreciates y'all.
Right.
But we're like, hey, wait a minute, him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
It is weird. And then you're expected to take pictures and shake hands the
Yep.
second you get in the car.
Yep.
We can get into that another day. Because right
That's
now
a whole nother episode. Call me back for that one.
We'll have you back before right when you make the playoffs.
Perfect.
Then you do a couple of these to the haters, and we'll have you
Yeah,
right back in.
okay, cool.
You're welcome back to the Nonsense Garage anytime. But before you leave, I got 3 questions.
Oh,
If you had to pick one car and one track to race out the rest of your life, what do you go with?
I'm gonna go back to the old Twisted Sister at Homestead.
Cup car or Xfinity car?
Cup car.
Yeah.
Give me all
Homestead.
the power. Homestead.
Like 07?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When was Homestead repaved? Or
reconfigured?
yeah, well that. So has it been
Probably
repaved
like-
since it's been reconfigured?
No.
I don't think
Okay,
so.
so we're going on like 50 years of same asphalt.
No.
No,
I think
it
I
was
think it's
like too early 2000s.
Yeah, 05, 04.
Oh,
maybe.
so you'd have been ripping around Homestead in 2007 then.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'd love to see that.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
And you didn't have to run this close to the wall to make
Yeah.
speed. You can actually
Yeah.
run like lane 1
Yeah.
and be like, okay, I like this
Yeah.
down here.
Yeah.
All right, question number 2. What's your most embarrassing moment at the racetrack?
Oh. Man. I'm going to say I don't know, like off track at the racetrack. I don't know, but I'll go with Texas last year. Restarts,
You feeling like you gave it up?
100%. All I had to do
And
was
you were,
take,
and you're embarrassed by that?
yeah, because that was lock you into the next round, and that was, hey man, Texas is gonna kick our ass. We show up and dominate, and then you give it away.
Yeah.
Embarrassing.
Talk about
1000%.
just so like the ride to the airport, like the flight where you just have steam coming out of your ears. Like, what is that? Like, what do you wrestle?
Yeah, it's hard because obviously my wife's there next to me. Hey, you did great, and I'm just,
No, I didn't.
what the are you talking about?
Yeah.
Did you not watch it?
Yeah.
Please don't
It's-
talk to me about racing
yes, Yes. And then in that moment you're like, hey man, she didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like, hey, understand the situation. And she gets it. She's been around for what, 7
Oh,
8
she
years
knew what
now.
she was getting into.
Yeah, for sure. I think I told her that. I was like, hey,
Are
we
you
started
sure?
we started dating in Vegas. I invited her out. I said, hey, by the way, if races don't go that great, I'm pretty evil to be around for 20 minutes. Don't take it personal.
Minutes.
Just call Freddie and yell at him.
Hours? Your hours? oh, my lingers for days.
Call
Yeah, minutes.
Yeah. If you get mad at her, hold on. Hey Siri, call Freddie. Listen.
So, yeah, I think I'd say Texas was probably the biggest embarrassment
All right.
because you're the underdog, right? And it's almost a layup. So I chose the top around Larson. Obviously, we had our race. He spun underneath. The restart after that, Willie B's on the inside, smoked him off the line, clear by 1.5, getting into 1. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take the top again. Chase Briscoe. He won't lift.
No, he won't.
So,
What do? He pushed you in the corner?
no, he was underneath me and run me up, and then
Oh.
Willie B got underneath him,
Oh, down.
and then I chased him, and it just
got tight.
all I needed to do was restart bottom, and
Deuces.
So you and Chase Briscoe have had a little bit of a
Very small, very
on-track-
minute. Like, I have no grudges against him. you
Other
know.
than he caused the most embarrassing moment of your career, like you just said.
That was my decision. So
Copy.
that was my
Yeah,
decision.
copy.
minor detail to it. Minor detail to the
But
story.
if I wanted to be that petty,
So you would going back to it, you'd just pick the bottom.
I would have picked the bottom on the last restart.
Copy.
Yep. Had Byron push me, and maybe him and I race it out. But yeah.
All right, what's your first racing memory?
First,
Could be at the track, in the car.
mine would be my first go-kart race.
Where at?
Jasper, Florida. I don't even know if that track's still there, but yeah, it was raised. So like, if you ran off track, it was down the hill.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, old Bubba Wallace just finding his way out there, gets in a wreck, and
Down the hill you
I
go.
start spinning down the hill, and all I see is a Chevy Suburban sitting there, and I'm like, oh, I'm about to KO this thing, and we're gonna have to pay for it, and like, so I just. It's the ones where you see it as you're spinning, and so it's like, when is this coming? So you brace for it. It's like if you spin on the bottom of Texas, you got 2 days to wait for the impact. So I just do this, and next thing you know, I come to a really soft stop, and I'm like, boom. And I'm like, I look, and there's a fence you couldn't see. I'm like, oh, okay, we're good. That was probably it. And then the cart was mangled up, and my dad had said this. He's like, you got out, and you asked if we could fix it and get back out there. And he was like, I knew we're in this
Got
for
that
the long
dog
haul.
in
Got the dog in him.
All right,
Dog of the week.
Last one. Last one. You can't promote yourself to dog of the show, so you're automatically disqualified. Last one.
Not the first time.
If you had, I know you want to make a ton more memories in the sport. And I know you're on your way to do so. But to this point, if you had to lose, if I had like the Men in Black wand, like the little pen that zaps all your memory, you had to keep one. What memory are you keeping?
Ooh, that's a great question. That's a fun one. Which one am I keeping? I'm gonna go with Kansas.
Yeah.
Kansas was one of those legend car wins. It's one of them back to like K&N wins. Like,
Yeah.
just straight
Pure.
oof. Like, we were decent all day. We ran, I think, top 5 both stages, but the way we, raced the 24 there on the last restart, raced with the 5, passed both of them in 3 and 4, hawked down the 48, passed them in set sail, and then just execute on pit road. Like, everything clicked, right? And it was like, damn, that hasn't happened in a really long time, and that one felt good. Not to take anything away from your first win at Talladega, but we were in the right spot at the right time.
Yeah, it's a little different.
Super speedway racing, it doesn't matter if you execute all day, go in there with a plan, win the race. It's still not as accomplished, like a sense of accomplishment as doing that at a mile and a half for a short track.
Yep, for sure. So I would say Kansas. Kansas was that one. People ask me, what's your favorite win? And it's like, Kansas.
Yeah. All right, well, I love it. I love to see it clicking for you and that 23
Thanks,
team. Keep it moving. You're welcome back anytime. Bubba Wallace in the Nonsense Garage, everybody.
Thank you.
Join Todd Goyne and myself each week for NASCAR Inside the Race. We'll break down exactly how the race was won.
Plus, we'll dive into the data and go in depth on race strategies, penalties, and rule changes.
Catch NASCAR Inside the Race presented by Consumer Cellular each Tuesday on NASCAR's YouTube channel.
Hope you guys enjoyed Bubba Wallace joining us right here in the Nonsense Garage. Busy week this week. A lot of content coming out for Stacking Pennies. No matter where you listen to it, whether you're listening to it on SiriusXM Channel 90, on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, wherever, or social clips. We're giving out stuff, Arctic stuff, each and every week. Don't miss it. We're going to fire up some spare change for you guys on Thursday as well, so be on the lookout for that on every single week. We're going to try to go get a dub this week, buddy.
Pulling for you. Hope you run second.
I hope I win.
If we don't win, I hope you do.
Okay, thanks. I like the little
And
wreath.
if neither of us win, I hope Bubba does.
I like the wreath they give you now.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It's
Is it
cool.
real flowers?
I don't think so. I don't know. Every time I've seen it, Blaine's been wearing it, so I haven't walked up to him and been like, let me touch
flowers?
your wreath. The victory lane there is different though, because it's long ways instead of
Yeah.
you kind of pull into it.
It's pretty
and then all
cool
the-
though. It's unique.
It's cool. Fans, it's fans are in there. It's It's fun.
Speaking of fans, if you're there as a fan, you can come at 2 o'clock on Saturday. We're going to be there in Victory Lane stage or right around there. They're in the Big Bill's garage or whatever they call it. It's pretty cool. Come check us out. We'll have some friends come by, stop by for a couple things, and we'll be there just hanging out, chilling. You won't. You're racing a modified this week, but you'll be stacking spennies at Bowman Gray.
Yeah, come see. If you're at Bowman Gray Stadium, come up. Tell us that you listen to the show. Maybe you could be the penny stacker of the week.
Maybe. It's a big honor. I'm sure there'll be a ton of penny stackers, Talladega and Bowman Gray Stadium. Appreciate you guys each and every week for tuning in. That's it. Goodbye.
See ya.